How you doing, everybody? Vasu Vatapart here for the Make the Money and Run podcast minute as we get into Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. How you doing? Let me give you the right away early pick to go with. I'm 8-0 in baseball the last couple of days. The White Sox and the Twins are playing a day game in Minnesota. Lucas Giolito for the White Sox, Matt Shoemaker for the Minnesota Twins. The line is about 118 and the total is 9 with the under listed at minus 115. So if you take the over, you get minus 105. The early pick for the day, and we'll post out later picks as well. I will, and Casey will, and Charlie will as well too. The over 9. So you get about 3 minutes to get on that. The White Sox Twins over 9 at minus 105. Take that pick. I'm 8-0 in baseball. Not doing so well with the NBA and the play-in tournaments. We'll get to that in a second. But the over 9 with the Chicago White Sox, Minnesota Twins, have that as your first play of the day, and then stay tuned on social media, on our Facebook pages, Instagram pages, for later picks, as well as our YouTube page as well to do that. So let's get to it. We're powered by Stables Media. Thanks to everybody for joining us on Facebook and YouTube. If you miss any of the live broadcasts on Monday, Thursday, Fridays, 4:15 Eastern, 1:15 Pacific, you can download and subscribe anywhere you get your podcast: Apple, Google, iHeart, Spotify, SoundCloud. Anywhere you get your podcast, you can find the Make the Money and Run symbol that's up there in the corner on any of those podcasting outlets, and you'll be able to download and listen to our terrific show and host, Casey Freelove, Charlie O. I'm not bad, but I manage my way through. But we're here to give you picks and winners and talk about sports and sports wagering, and that's what we're here to do. So let's get to it right now. I already gave you the White Sox Twins pick. Let's talk NBA right now. How about that play-in tournament, the Eastern Conference yesterday? Kind of blowouts. Actually, one blowout and one kind of blowout. Washington Wizards, who were dead to rights in 12th place in the league, all the infighting turmoil. I can't really say infighting, but turmoil within the organization. Was Bradley Beal going to get traded? Russell Westbrook coming over from Houston in that trade for John Wall. It all worked out eventually as they were down in the 12th spot. In the last 6 weeks, they got hot. And they finished in the 8th spot, not just in the play-in tournament in the 9-10 spot, because they were 10th about a week ago, and then they went on a 6-game winning streak. A lot of comebacks involved in that. Russell Westbrook, Brody, doing his triple-double thing. There's no doubt in my mind that he's clearly enhanced the team game there. Bradley Beal finished second in the league in scoring behind Steph Curry. We'll get to the Warriors and Lakers in a second, but the Eastern Conference, 118-100. Boston, they covered the 2.5 points. I think they stayed under. 232 was the total, and they stayed under that total. So the Boston Celtics are in. They're the 7th seed. The Washington Wizards will play the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers, Charlotte. I thought Charlotte had a game plan going in after the weekend. They blew 2 double-digit leads against the Knicks and against the Wizards on Sunday to close out the regular season. But you can't play. I don't care if you're the best team in the league or you're the worst team in the league. Even the best teams have off nights. I get it. But when you give up 144 points in an elimination game like the Charlotte Hornets did yesterday, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. What a debacle for the Charlotte Hornets yesterday. And LaMelo Ball, the rookie of the year probably, and they've got their offensive game going. They were shooting below 40%. There are a lot of three-point shooters with Rozier and the kid from Kansas, Graham, and also Terry Rozier, and you've got Ball there as well too. They've got some frontline play, PJ Washington as well. But you give up 144 freaking points to the Boston Celtics, to the Indiana Pacers, who were questionable to come into the game with Sabonis and Malcolm Brogdon, their starting center and their starting point guard coming in. Yeah, you don't deserve to be there. So the Indiana Pacers, by virtue of Charlotte playing no defense, which let's face it, in the NBA, who did play defense this year? 144 to 116. 200, 118, 262 points. The game was easily covered at -3. I actually bought a point, which means I laid more money on Charlotte +3. That was a loser. 262 points with the over-under 226. What a game to watch if you were the Indiana Pacers. What a game to watch on the other end if you're the Charlotte Hornets. Goodbye, Charlotte. You're gone. Indiana and Washington tomorrow will play for the right to be the number 8 seed and take on the Philadelphia 76ers. We talked about the 4 or 5 seeds and the 3 6 seeds in the East. Atlanta, New York, Milwaukee, Miami are the set series right now, and Philadelphia, Brooklyn waiting to get in. All right, the play-in tournament for the Western Conference. I live in the Bay Area. It's a big rivalry. As you know, most people know I'm a Dodgers fan. I grew up in Southern California. I'm a Lakers fan. Lakers are 4.5-point favorites. The total is 219. Here's what the Lakers have. And I'm giving the Warriors a fair shot in this, but I'm telling you why. I'm going to take the Lakers tonight at -4.5. LeBron James is back. Anthony and playing well. They played well over the weekend in the 2 games that he's come back. So he's got his game back a little bit. Anthony Davis playing well. He's their second main scorer on that team. He's playing well. He's come back into good health. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, very underrated shooter, great defender. He'll be on Curry a lot tonight. He'll be on Jordan Poole. Whoever comes into that off-guard spot, KCP will be right there as well too. Big pickup, middle of the year, Andre Drummond. Veteran minimum, was released by the Cavaliers. Lakers picked him up for whatever the salary structure is. I still don't understand how that veterans minimum is. I know how it works when you get released. You get picked up by the Lakers. What a machine he is on the boards. Now, I can't run up and down with some of these rabbits that the Warriors have, and the Lakers like to run as well too. And he kind of clogs that up a little bit being at center. But he's a machine on the offensive boards. He gets about 4 or 5 offensive rebounds a game, and that's a lot in the NBA when you're battling out with 9 other guys on the court. To get 4 to 5 offensive rebounds, tip it to yourself. His offensive game is well improved from when he first came into the league. He is he's having a great year now that he's with the Lakers. They've also got Marc Gasol coming off the bench. He can rebound. He can shoot the three. Drummond on the inside. You got Anthony Davis with all-world skills. LeBron James there as well too. Now let's take a look at the Warriors. The Warriors 15-5 to close out the year. Steph Curry put himself in the MVP conversation, and it wouldn't shock me if he wins the MVP. I don't think he will. It'll be Nikola Jokic, because without Jokic, they would not be in the 3 seed as the Denver Nuggets. And we'll get to that in a second too. Steph Curry on fire, has had struggles at Staples Center, both against the Lakers and the Clippers. Lakers are kind of big. They're bigger than the Warriors are. Warriors have to get the defensive rebounds because the Lakers don't shoot the ball great. The Lakers, the number 1 team field goal percentage wise against 3-pointers. So they're the top team in that regard. Anthony Davis is long. He'll block shots out there as well too. But you take it inside, you got to deal with Drummond and Davis and Gasol as well too. And then those perimeter defenders, even Alex Caruso off the bench with KCP. And then Tucker is there as well too. And then Kyle Kuzma, he's got to have a big game for the Lakers as well too. But Curry's got to have a game. Maybe not the 46 that he's got, but other guys have to step up. Andrew Wiggins has been great this year. A lot of people down on Wiggins coming into the year. He's turned out to be a great one-on-one defender, on-ball defender. Steph Curry from 3. We knew what he did on Sunday against Memphis in a tie game. Separated themselves and were able to get into this play-in tournament. They were already in the play-in tournament, but now they're the 8th seed, and the Lakers are the 7th seed. The 9 seed, the Memphis Grizzlies, who struggled down the stretch, and the 10 seed, San Antonio Spurs. What a game it's going to be tonight, 10:10 Eastern on ESPN, 7 o'clock out here on the West Coast. I know the Bay Area is talking all about what's going on with the Lakers and the Warriors. It's going to be an interesting showdown, and we'll see how it goes. But the Warriors have to shoot well. They've got to rebound on the boards. The benefit of this game being the 7-8 is the loser will still have a chance to get in. And if it's the Warriors, I think both teams can beat Memphis and can beat San Antonio, whoever comes out of that game. Let's move on to the Memphis-San Antonio game. San Antonio, 4.5-point underdog. 227 is the total against the Memphis Grizzlies, who struggled down the stretch. They were a hot team. John Morant, Valanciunas in the middle. They've got Jaren Jackson Jr. back. It's unbelievable how much improvement he's made in his 2 years in the league. John Morant, his second year in the league, Rookie of the Year in the 2019-2020 shortened season. The Memphis Grizzlies are a team to be reckoned with, but they don't play defense. It's the theme of the year in the NBA. They do not play defense. I don't understand it. I'll never figure it out, but now is the time you got to play defense. By the way, these play-in tournaments, they're not considered regular season games, so they don't go on regular season stats. In baseball, if you have a tie at the end and play game 163, by the nature of it being game 163, it's a regular season game. Here, it's just a non-regular season game. It's a non-playoff game. It's a play-in game that has its own stats, its own center of statistics, and everything that goes with it. It's for the opportunity to get into the playoffs. I don't know how this is going to work going forward. First of all, there's too many teams, 20 teams out of the 30 with a chance to get into the playoffs, and then the 16. I still think it's too many. NBA people have told me they think it's too many. Devalues the regular season. But anyway, Memphis, San Antonio. That being said, it's a one-off year. We're coming off a pandemic. I get it. Memphis, San Antonio, Greg Popovich, obviously one of the best coaches in the NBA, has rings to prove it. Doesn't have the Tim Duncan days, doesn't have the David Robinson days, no Tony Parker, no Sean Elliott, none of those days. Who are these guys? DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl in the middle, They've got Patty Mills, backup point guard. They've got guys that you've never heard of that are playing together as a team, and Greg Popovich knows how to do that. DeRozan sat on Friday night, and they got hammered by I forgot who they got hammered by, Phoenix, but then they played Phoenix tough again on Sunday. If they get a chance to get in the playoffs, they're going to have a chance to get to the 8 seed. I guess it would be the 8 seed, yeah, because they're the 9-10 seed. Lakers, Warriors, 7-8 seed. So stay with me here on this. The 9-10 loser is eliminated. The 9-10 winner plays the loser of the 7-8 seed. So 7-8 has two chances to get in. The winner of the 7-8 game is the 7 seed, and then the three teams will battle out for the number 8 seed. Tomorrow is the East final of the play-in tournament. It'll be the Wizards and the Pacers, who just played on Sunday. And then the winner of the 7-8 game today between the Lakers and Warriors will be in the playoffs. The loser of the 9-10 game will play the loser of the 7-8 game, either the Warriors or the Lakers, San Antonio or Memphis. They'll play for the 8 seed to play Utah. The 7 seed will get the Phoenix Suns and my potential MVP candidate, Chris Paul, but he'll never get enough votes for that as well. So the NBA, very interesting how the NBA is going right now. It's going to be an interesting play-in night tomorrow, the Eastern Conference, and then Friday the Western Conference will play. And then the playoffs will start on Sunday. If it's 12:30 on the West Coast on Sunday afternoon, you know it's playoff time, and ESPN will carry all the Western Conference games, and TNT Turner will carry all the Eastern Conference playoff games as well. Speaking of Turner Sports, how about Marv Albert? We mentioned it on Monday. He announced his retirement after the Eastern Conference Finals. He will retire. He's almost 80 years old. You know, he's had his controversy in the past, but you can't deny what a career the great Marv Albert had with the New York Knicks. He was even the New York Rangers announcer for a bunch of years. He's seen it all. 1963, he got in the business. 1965, even before I was born, he was the New York Rangers voice. And then in 67, he got the New York Knicks job. He didn't get on TV, believe it or not, until 1986 with the New York Knicks, but he was already with NBC at that time doing boxing, doing pregame baseball. When I was a kid, he was a pregame baseball host for NBC. Of course, he's done NFL games for NBC, CBS, even the last couple of years before he decided to retire from the basketball side, of college basketball side of it. He did some NCAA playoff tournaments. So career well done, obviously, for the people on the East Coast and nationally that have listened to him. What's your favorite Marv Albert call? What do you remember most about him? Email us at mtmarpodcast@gmail.com. Also, tell us who you like tonight. We've got games all day and all night. We'll get to the baseball games here in a second. The NHL. I just want to talk about the NHL here for a little bit. NHL playoffs are going full board now. It was very funny to see still regular season games still going on. Let me see if there's still regular season. Vancouver and Calgary. Yeah, they're going to play a regular season game. I'm not sure why they're playing the regular season game. The only thing I can think of is that you have to play all the regular season games, and players want their game checks. I think that's an important aspect for people to understand, that hockey players or the hockey union and hockey itself, they don't make as much money as the other sports do. But Vancouver and Calgary, that's a regular season game. I think this will be the last regular season game of the year. It's happening while the playoffs are happening. Let's look at the schedule tonight. Washington and Boston are going to play game 3. That series tied at 1 game apiece. Both games ended up in overtime. Boston winning game 2, Washington winning the first one. The Nashville Predators, Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina Hurricanes won their game 5-2 the other night over Nashville. They have a 1-game-to-none series lead. I really like Carolina in this game tonight. That might be one of my picks. We'll document that later on Instagram and on Facebook. Also, Make the Money and Run page on Facebook. And then Winnipeg and Edmonton start their series tonight. Some of these series are starting later, so Winnipeg and Edmonton get their game 1 going. Tomorrow, Tampa Bay and Florida. Tampa Bay will be at home. 2-0 Tampa Bay leads that series. I love Tampa Bay. That's my Eastern Conference team. My association with the Tampa Bay area and the Florida area. Got to see them win a cup in 2003 as a newly expanded team at that time. Pittsburgh and the Islanders, that series tied at 1 game apiece. Game 2 was a thriller in overtime as well, too. A lot of overtime games, by the way. I was talking with hockey guys last night over an adult beverage, and I said the first time that 3 game 1s have ended in an overtime. You just never see anything like that. Washington, Boston, and then the Islanders and Pittsburgh, and then Dallas or Las Vegas and Minnesota. They had a 1-0 overtime game in game 1 as well on Sunday night. And then Montreal and Toronto tomorrow will start their series. Game 1, they're behind the 8 ball, but they'll be there as well. The Montreal Canadiens and the Toronto Maple Leafs, they're trying to get back into the swing of things after the problems that Canada's had. Yesterday's scores: the Penguins 2-1 over the Islanders to get to that 1-1 series. The Lightning get the 3-1 victory. They have the 2-0 series lead. Both games won on the road. It could be a short series for the Florida Panthers. And the Golden Knights come back off that loss that we just talked about, the overtime loss. They get a 3-1 victory over the Minnesota Wild. Vegas, a heavy favorite, not a heavy favorite. Vegas and Colorado, the top two favorites to win the Stanley Cup, definitely to win the Western Conference. It's going to be very interesting to see how the hockey playoffs continue. I am a big hockey fan. We don't talk a lot about hockey, but there is nothing like playoff hockey. You know how it is when you get to a movie that you haven't seen for a while, but every time it comes on, you drop the remote and you just sit there and watch it. When it gets to the third period, the last 10 minutes of the third period, or an overtime in the NHL playoffs, it's must-see TV. Anything can happen. It could happen just like that. Snapping my fingers, happen just like that in overtime, as it did. One overtime goal was 4.5 minutes into overtime. One goal was 34 seconds into overtime. It's just amazing how fast these things happen. And in the NHL playoffs, there is no shootout. They play full 20-minute periods in the playoffs, and it could go for hours and hours and hours. I remember a long time ago, the Penguins and Carolina played 5 overtimes. I started that game at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it didn't end until 12:30 on the West Coast. So you can imagine how it was on the East Coast. I think it was in Carolina. That was a number of years ago, like 20 years ago. So that's the best part about it. So we have it all set up for the NHL playoffs going on as well. So I got you there for the NHL, the NBA playoffs. We'll take 30 seconds and come back, talk a little baseball. Welcome back to the Make the Money Run Podcast Minute. Vasu Vadaparty here. Casey Freelove, Charlie O will join me Thursday and Friday for our regular time slot. Let me do a little quick producing and get everything set up. We are here every Monday, Thursday, Friday, 4:15 Eastern, 1:15 Pacific, right here on Facebook Live and on YouTube. If you miss any of the live broadcasts, you're missing our picks, our wagers live. You can download and subscribe anywhere you get it: Apple, Google, iHeart, Spotify, SoundCloud, anywhere you get your podcasts. Find that symbol up there in the corner, Make the Money and Run, and you can hear our podcast with our predictions and previews of games going on. A lot of MLB baseball to talk about. How about the MLB baseball scenario that we've got going on now in the National League? It's good times here in the Bay Area where I live in terms of the San Francisco Giants and the Oakland A's. San Francisco Giants are 26 and 16, and the Oakland A's are 26 and 17. The two best records in baseball, actually 26 and 17. San Diego's a half a game behind the Giants. The Giants are 26 and 16. The A's are 26 and 17 after their comeback win over the Houston Astros yesterday in Oakland. They were down 5-3, able to tie the game, get a walk-off in the bottom of the ninth, their 5th walk-off of the year. 26 and 17. The White Sox are starting to play well. They lost yesterday, but comeback fashion by Minnesota, 25 and 16. And then the Red Sox, who lost yesterday to Toronto, that got shut out, 25 and 18. Toronto's red hot right now. They've won 3 in a row. Have you seen Vladimir Guerrero, Bo Bichette, Cavan Biggio, 3 sons of former major leaguers, 2 in the Hall of Fame? And Dante Bichette had a great career with Colorado as well, too. Toronto Blue Jays, with their sons leading the way, have gotten good pitching from Hyun-Jin Ryu and Steven Matz to lead the staff right now. And their bullpen, not sure about their bullpen yet, but they're 23 and 17, 7 and 3 in their last 10, won 3 in a row, run differential plus 44. They're going to leave Dunedin at the end of the month and go to Buffalo, where they're going to play the rest of their games this year in Buffalo. That is a bandbox. That is a minor league stadium. It's built for major league specifications, but that's a bandbox. Look at the over-unders. In individual games, they're going to be about 9, 9.5, 10, 10.5. Start looking at the over as you get going on these Toronto Blue Jays games. Let's look at the scores from yesterday a little bit By the way, at the bottom of the first, the White Sox Twins scoreless. I told you about the over. Twins have 2 on and 1 out. Yesterday's games here, the Twins came back on the White Sox. How about the San Francisco Giants and their starting pitching staff? Leading the National League in starting pitching, DeSclafani, Alex Wood, Cueto, Kevin Gausman, one of the best pitchers in the National League this year. The biggest reason they're starting pitching so good and their bullpen, it has its ups and downs a little bit, but for the most part, they've been good. You can't have the best record in the National League without the starting pitching. The reason the starting pitching is so good, their defense is really good. Brandon Crawford offensively is having a great year, but when you play defense, and I'm not a pitcher at any higher level or anything like that, but when you have good defense behind you, it keeps you in rhythm. And right now, the rhythm the Giants are in right now, they don't have to worry about walking people. They don't have to worry about striking everybody out. They don't have to worry about their defense, and that's a big deal. Buster Posey having an MVP year as well. Brandon Crawford hitting 10 home runs. He hit his 10th home run last night. Everybody wanted him out of here in the Bay Area 2 years ago. Brandon Belt on the trading block every year. He's having a good year. Donovan Solano coming back from injury. He's having a good year. He'll come back. Mauricio Dubon, that's there. Yastrzemski starting to get hot again as well, too. Alex Dickerson came off the IL. Hit a 3-run home run last night against the Reds. They get a 4-2 victory. Tampa Bay is red hot as we switch over to the American League. Let me look at the American League right now. The Tampa Bay Rays, third in the American League East, 24-19. They put up 13 runs on Matt Harvey and the Baltimore Orioles yesterday. They've won 5 in a row, and the Tampa Bay Rays are starting to make the case of why they're the 2020 American League champions that lost to the Dodgers last year in the World Series. Boston, Toronto, Tampa Bay, the Yankees are only a game and a half back, 23-19. They're starting to play well too. They have their game going on right now. Tonight, they're going to be playing later. The Mets are 20-16. They lead the National League East. They won again in Atlanta last night. Did you see Kevin Pillar get hit? Thank God it's only nasal fractures. But he did his press conference, and it looked like the stitching of a baseball, where he got all the stitches on the nasal fractures. It's unbelievable to see what happened. 94 miles an hour. Pitchers don't know how to pitch inside, and it's not taught well enough. You have to pitch inside to be successful in Major League Baseball, and they did not. They are not being taught that. I don't know what's going on with that, but too many guys are getting hit in the head. Too many guys are getting hit above the shoulder, and it's going to be bad because with the hard throws that are on baseball, 95 routinely coming out of the bullpen, 95, 93 to 97, pretty routine now for Major League pitchers. Somebody's going to get really hurt. And good thing for Kevin Pillar. I mean, what a way to drive in a run. It was a bases loaded, hit batsman, and it was a big point in the game. But boy, that's a tough way to get an RBI and a tough way to take your base on a hit batsman. So the Mets are playing well right now. They're in first place, a game up on Philadelphia. Mets had the early shutdown with the COVID. They've only played 36 games. Everybody in that division has played 42. By the way, the Miami Marlins are at 0-run differential, the only team in positive run differential in the National League East. The St. Louis Cardinals got a big win last night behind John Gant. That was one of my picks yesterday. Cardinals 24-18. They're 2 ahead of the Cubs right now. We're playing well. They won 3 in a row. They beat the Nationals yesterday. Milwaukee lost yesterday in Kansas City, of all places. Kansas City was on an 11-game losing streak. Brandon Woodruff having a great year, but Milwaukee's offense struggling right now. You can see it a little bit against the Atlanta series and here yesterday against Kansas City in that interleague matchup. Cincinnati lost 2 in a row. The Giants have gotten to him. I got a bad feeling that the Giants are going to get to him again today. We'll get to the previews in a second. Of course, the Pirates they're playing tougher than everybody thought, but they are the Pirates. They're 17-24. Dodgers are 24-18. They're in third place, 2 back. They've won 2 in a row over the Arizona Diamondbacks. They get Arizona again today. They are leading the world. Them and the White Sox are leading the world in run differential. The Chicago White Sox are plus 72. Are you kidding me? Plus 72 by 41 games. That's just shy about 1.8 runs per game on average that they're beating their teams by. They are mashing the ball. We'll get to the White Sox in a second. Dodgers are plus 59. They've got a big series with the Giants coming in this weekend. Saturday game will be on Fox. I'll be there. Friday's my birthday. I'm looking forward to everybody that comes out to Oracle Park that lives in the Bay Area. Hit me up. Let me know where you're going to be. We'll have an adult beverage. I'll be there all weekend, Friday night, Saturday afternoon for the network, and then Sunday afternoon for pure fun and enjoyment. Let the Dodgers feel like they're going to be in this race. They got to take 2 out of 3 out of San Francisco, but that starting pitching for the Giants right now, it's unmatchable by any other team as we get into the latter part of May, early part of June. It's been very interesting. All right, some of the pitching matchups for today as we get to it. No score at the end of 1 for the White Sox Twins. I did have the over in that game. 1 o'clock Pacific time, Rockies Padres, Musgrove against Chichi Gonzalez. Rockies not playing very well at all. The Giants Reds, we mentioned. Kevin Gausman, 3-0, 1.84. Wade Miley, who has a no hitter. By the way, 5 no hitters in Major League Baseball. We're not even out of May yet, 3 in the last 13 days. Gausman, Miley, Rays, we talked about how hot they are, 5 in a row. Ryan Yarbrough, John Means, the best pitcher on the Baltimore staff. He's 4-0 with a 1.21 ERA, so don't take the Orioles lightly here tonight. Mets, Phillies, big matchup in the East, as it always is. Marlins, Phillies, Trevor Rogers, Zach Eflin for Philly. Trevor Rogers, one of the best left-handers in the National League that doesn't get any run because he plays in Miami. The Mets and Braves. Mets have won the first 2 games. David Peterson against Charlie Morton, who struggled. Charlie Morton, a veteran pitcher, but he struggled this year. Red Sox, Blue Jays. How many runs are going to be scored in this game? Ross Stripling, former Dodger, now pitching with Toronto, against Garrett Richards, who's had a good outing. He beat the A's last week. Is the only victory against the A's by the Red Sox in Boston. Nationals and Cubs. The Cubs have won the first 2. Max Scherzer, Jake Arrieta. 3 years ago, that would have been a great matchup if it was the Arrieta of old, Cy Young winner of old, but it's just not the same. Mad Max going for the Nationals today. Pirates, Cardinals again. Trevor Cahill, Jack Flaherty, ace of the Cardinals. 7-0, 2.47. If he's not your Cy Young candidate in the clubhouse with the early lead, then I don't know who is right now, because Jack Flaherty, 7-0, 2.47 ERA, unbelievably on fire for the St. Louis Cardinals. Imagine he'd probably be about a $2 favorite. I don't have the odds in front of me. Yankees, Rangers, Corey Kluber. Rangers haven't decided yet. Indians, Angels, early start on the West Coast, 5 o'clock. How about what Shohei Ohtani is doing, everybody? Shohei Ohtani is doing Babe Ruth-like things, but nobody notices because the Angels are so bad. Shohei Ohtani has 13 home runs for the Angels. His ERA is 2.10. He's only 1-0 because he only goes 5 or 6 innings because the pitch count gets up there. He's still learning how to pitch, folks. He knows how to hit. He's fast as hell. If you've ever seen him run the bases, for a big man, he is extremely fast. Shohei Ohtani, 13 home runs, a 2.10 ERA, 1-0. He walks too many guys. That's his only problem right now. But when he gets his control and he learns how to pitch, it will be Babe Ruth-like. And then the Angels don't use the DH on those days. Now, why are you going to take that bat out of the lineup? Last year, he was DH for when he was pitching. Mistake by Brad Ausmus when he was the manager there. You've got to have that bat in the lineup. They've got Aaron Savali tonight, who's 5-1 for the Indians as well, 3.40. The Indians with a big win last night. One of my plays again. Brewers Royals, an interleague matchup. Burns and Keller. Corbin Burns still hasn't walked anybody to open the year, but he's 2-3. Go figure. 2-3 is 1.57. He and Jacob deGrom are on text threads with each other going, can anybody score some runs for us? Astros continue their series in Oakland. Oakland with the victory last night. Houston came in at the beginning of the year and swept them in 4 straight. A's finally get one against the Astros at home. Frankie Montas, Zach Greinke, and then finally the Dodgers and Diamondbacks. No pitcher for Arizona. Clayton Kershaw going tonight. He's 6-3, 3.20 ERA, coming back to the Kershaw of old. Tigers, Mariners round out. How about Spencer Turnbull last night? We talked about the no-hitters. Threw a no-hitter last night against the Mariners. Tigers have taken the first 2 games of the series. Screwball goes for Detroit. Logan Gilbert, who made his major league debut on Friday, goes for the Seattle Mariners tonight. He's 0-1. He gave up 4 runs last week. So that's going to do it for the baseball side of it. NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball. Join us every Monday, Thursday, and Friday to get all the previews, all the odds. Don't forget to check our social media pages out for picks. We'll have them all for you every day. We'll have picks for you. We'll preview the weekends on Fridays, and then we'll talk about the week on Thursdays, and then we'll open up the week on Mondays, 4:15 Eastern, 1:15 Pacific, right here on Facebook and YouTube. If you miss any of the live broadcast, feel free to download, subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. You see the logo up there on the right, MTMAR for Make the Money and Run. Hit us up on social media, mtmarpodcast@gmail.com, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere that you can get it. All right, for Casey Freelove, Charlie O, join us tomorrow, 4:15 Eastern. 2 of us will be here. This has been the Make the Money and Run Minute for Wednesday, May 19th. Have a great afternoon. Check the social media post. We'll have picks for you by 6 o'clock Eastern. Take care, everybody.